Jeannie writes, Dear Lori, I have been following your work for over a year and I love it. You have shown me parts of myself that I didn't even know were there, let alone hurting, and I have healed so much. Ooh. So I want to thank you. Well, you are welcome, Jeannie, and I must congratulate you for staying the path and owning up to all of that. So my daughter is almost 8 and we are having real challenges with her behavior. She seems to be triggered into tantrums at the slightest change or inconvenience. She doesn't cry or scream, but she gets aggressive with her words, yelling hateful comments or saying that she doesn't care. I am at a loss for what is happening. She seems to be fine one minute and then having a meltdown the next. Isn't she too old not to be able to control her behavior? The worst is when it happens in public, like when I am in the store and I tell her that we can't buy something that she wants. Please help. Ooh, Jeannie, I am totally going to help. But the first thing that I want to help with is your perspective. I want you to know that while your daughter is almost 8 chronologically, she may be in an entirely different emotional space. And this could really be due to a whole host of different reasons. I mean, medical issues, trauma, just some sensory issues. But if she isn't acting appropriately, it's because she can't. In that moment, this does not mean that she will never be able to. Really, the foundation of my work is predicated on the idea that behavior is an attempt to meet basic needs, just core basic needs. So negative behavior is attempting to meet those needs from this place of stress. Now, a place of stress is never a good place to try and make good decisions, right? Or to act on our thoughts. And who hasn't experienced a public meltdown? That shame-ridden moment in church or in a shopping mall or in a busy supermarket when your child starts to go limp and loud at the very same time, and then all of a sudden all eyes are on you. The other parents, the store clerks, the grandmothers, everybody's judging and staring and gesturing for you to do something about your child. Have you been there? I know I have been there. And of course, if you are the proud parent of an exceptionally sensitive child or a smart child, gifted child, differently abled child, or a child with a traumatic history, pretty much all of our kids, right? Then you know this all too well. As the mom of a sensitive child and as an adult with Asperger's, I can tell you that I used to be one of those sensitive kids, and I am really very familiar with that brain state meltdown, that place between rigid inflexibility and total fear where every major system shuts down. But sensitive or not, all kids go through the same developmental stages of learning how to control their emotions. And whether your child has a 5-minute meltdown or a 2-hour rage, when you are talking about changing brain states, it isn't about discipline. Your child is not bad. You aren't doing anything wrong. It's about soothing the system. I remember once when my daughter was about 3 or 4 and we were leaving a birthday party when she lost it. You want to know why? Because instead of going to the car and getting her sweater like we had planned to and then walking down to the farmer's market to have dinner, instead her dad had already gone to the car, moved it, and then got her sweater and brought it back. And so we decided we were all going to walk from the party to the farmer's market. Well, you may as well have told my daughter that we were dropping her off at preschool and never going to return because she broke down, sprawled out on the ground in the center of town and sobbed for a good 20 minutes. But it wasn't too crowded on the sidewalk, and the dining tables were still relatively empty, and the crowd was light enough that I realized that we could safely stay where we were while she processed out these emotions. And I couldn't reach her with words in that moment or with empathy because she had not crossed that point of being able to hear me. I had to strap on my compassion boots and start to steer the ride. So I got down next to her right on the ground on the sidewalk and I stayed close while she let out those tears. And we even had another family actually stop and watch us, and not with the intent to criticize, but in awe and curious to see how it unfolded. Afterwards, the mom had said to me that she was so intrigued by how calm I stayed in that moment, that she wanted to see how it resolved. And it resolved with all of us ending up going to the market and having fun with our new friends. But how different would that have been if that family had stopped and stared with judgment or with blame? I'm sure then my first instinct probably would have been to feel guilt or shame, and I would have had to deal with that in order to stay compassionate with my child. And it probably would have been harder on me. So what a gift that family had given me to not only tolerate what was happening, but to actually support us in that moment that we were having. The reality is that most of us at one time or another have probably gone to DEFCON 3 in a panic-inducing, blood pressure rising moment of our child having a full-blown explosion of emotion in a public place. So today I want to share 4 tips for handling those public meltdowns so that you can stay present, giving your child the kind of quality feedback that will expand his own tolerance to stress and change in respectful ways. So the first thing, put your blinders on. All those people that are staring at you, it's likely that half of them are imaginary and only in your head, and the other half, I'd strongly suggest pulling a Brady Bunch move and picturing those folks in their underwear. Because look, does it really matter what these people think? Who are they to judge? When have they walked in your shoes? Someone who becomes upset at a child having strong feelings and being unable to control those feelings, or worse, someone who insults or judges a parent for their lack of control, probably needs a hug themselves. So give a glance up, smile, and give that same level of compassion for their experience as I want you to have for your own, and then put your blinders on. Take a deep breath, inhale confidence, exhale the fear, and allow yourself to respectfully address your child while tuning out the rest of the world with a horse, like a horse with blinders that can only see what is right in front of him. Now, that being said, I also don't want you to just let your child run the show, right? He needs you to set up the boundaries and then respectfully keep him inside of those boundaries. So stay emotionally connected, but be practical. Don't stay where you are and let your child unload his emotions if he's in a place that will clearly interrupt or disturb others during something such as a performance or a ceremony or a class. But I also don't advise using a "we're leaving" as a punishment for their behavior. If you're in a place that you need to be respectful of others, then remain calm, pick up your child, and then leave, or guide your child to another area or outside where he can then regain his composure privately. You can take responsibility for the situation by removing yourself and the child from the public view without leaving the decision up to your child to change his behavior. Remember that in survival mode, decision-making abilities are offline. So if the behavior or the noise is causing a ruckus, or if you predict based on knowing your child's patterns that the behavior might escalate to worse before it gets better, then by all means leave and find a quiet space, but do it kindly. You don't have to threaten to change behavior. In fact, that will make a survival mode child go even deeper into despair. So instead of "if you don't stop it right now, we're leaving," which forces a child to make a decision that he cannot possibly make in that moment, try something different. Try something like, "I can't let you hit things," or "I can't let you hit me or throw things. I can see you're having a lot of trouble. I can tell how upset you are about this. So we're going to go outside to the car. That's where we can have some privacy. It'll be quieter for us." If the child responds, "No, I don't want to leave," don't feel the need to argue or to convince him, or use that, "well, we're leaving because you can't calm down and it's not polite, and if you would just stop asking me," or crying, or blah, 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 all that stuff, because all that's likely to increase the negative tension, and we want to reduce that. So just stay strong, confident, reaffirm your limit as you take steps to control the environment. All right, my next tip is be proactive. If you know that your child can't handle a supermarket trip after a long day at school, then prepare to either run your errands before your child comes home or plan a stay at the park for 15 minutes after school and before the supermarket trip to allow your child to unwind from his day, and before you have to make those necessary demands on him. Prepare to help him in the environment where you know that he will struggle by giving him that moment. Most meltdowns are from a couple of sources. The unknown, so you can prepare your child with some guidance of what will happen, who he will see, what he will see. Use visual cues or maps or a list to outline what you'll be doing. And if your child is old enough, ask for his opinion on how to accomplish the tasks or the errands with the least amount of stress for everybody. Hunger is another big trigger. Bring snacks. Make sure kids are fed before going to places. Exhaustion. Being tired is a big one. See where you can adjust your routine to avoid bringing your child out when you know he may be exhausted from the day. Another one is sensory overload, the invisible challenge. Noises, crowds, fluorescent lights. This can all overwhelm a child. So bring sunglasses for the light-sensitive child, or headphones to block out noise for a sound-sensitive kid. Some kids who have auditory sensitivity get overwhelmed by all the background noise, but they can relax when they're listening to their favorite music or to an audiobook with headphones. And with older kids, you can use earplugs. Also, fidget toys, anything that you can use that's going to lessen the impact, the sensory impact on your child, is going to help you minimize the chance that you're going to have a meltdown. Taking preventative measures means that you know your kid and that you know yourself and you know what you both can handle, and then you make choices to support those needs. Now, my final tip is, if you are on the other side of one of those public meltdowns, watching like the family on the sidewalk with my daughter was all those years ago, do what they did. Lean in, lend a hand, show a smile, give an understanding glance. These small gestures of compassion for another parent in need will generate the kind of kindness parent to parent that we hope to impart to our kids. Just having the support of one tolerant, understanding person nearby can help us manage our own fears and emotions so that we can handle a public meltdown. And that is exactly what we need when addressing a child in that same state. Kids who feel supported with patience, they don't learn to take advantage of others. They actually learn to give of themselves because that is what they have experienced themselves. All right, Jeannie, that was my teachable moment for you. I hope that you found it helpful. And of course, you can let me know by writing in and updating me on your family situation. Now I want to hear from you guys. What have you done to help another mom or dad during a public meltdown? Or how have you helped your own child in this situation? Come on over to teachthroughlove.com and share your story or thoughts in the comments below, because your story and your ideas might just be the one to inspire someone else towards the change that they are looking for. And if you like this video, will you do me a favor and give it a shout out, like it, or share it with a friend? As always, you can find more tips and tools on my website and on my YouTube channel, so go on over and subscribe to my weekly updates for special videos that I only share with my email list. And if you're ready to take the next step and stop the yelling and the arguing and the craziness in your house, then check out my Family Peace Project. It is a completely virtual parent education membership program with short videos and exercises and the chance to hang out twice a month to connect with me and other conscious parents, a really cool community to share stories, get questions answered, and find advice and support. Just go on over to teachthroughlove.com, click members, and you'll find out more. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, please remember, everyone, it's about consciousness, not perfection.